y'all. So I just wanted to make a video and put things out there and explain a little bit why I decided to redo the channel and name it Living Life the Old Way. So just kind of thinking about how things are today. Um, a lot of things that are convenient don't really align with the way that I want to eat, um, consume things. I don't really know. Just convenience isn't always the best option, I think. So that goes for a lot of things. It goes for exercise, it goes for food, it goes for products in my body, it goes for, health and beauty, a little bit of everything. I'm just trying to look for alternative ways and learn some alternative ways to do things. And, of course, doing things ways that they've been done for a long time worked. Sometimes a lot better. Most of the time better. Like, for example, bread. So, I'm not exactly sure when, but when people started having bread milled or the flour milled, in mass quantities, they refined everything so that the bread or so the flour would be shelf stable for longer. So that involved taking out the germ and basically just selling the starchy part, the sugary part that's bad for you, because it is shelf stable. I don't think that's the best way to do things. I think bread was healthier when everybody milled it at home, and that way you consumed the whole wheat berry with all the nutrition and everything inside. Miss let's see, Sue Becker, Bread Becker's podcast. She has a lot of information about that if you're interested in learning more. Um, I had actually bought a grain mill. I believe I've got notes. So I bought it in, let's see, January maybe of 2023. But it was a lot. I didn't really understand how to use it. It's intimidating. There are so many different kinds of wheat berries. There's, hard red, hard white wheat, soft white wheat, and then you've got ancient grains, which is just, so overwhelming. Anyway, so when you look at that and you're trying to figure out what to do, and you're like, man, I just want to make a loaf of bread, and you don't know which one to use, or freshly milled flour is a lot more sticky than conventional flour. So even if you do learn the wheat berry types, it's hard to get a feel for it. So anyway, so it's intimidating, and I didn't really jump on that train. I guess it was about April of 2023. I had read a couple books, and one of them being, I think it was, I may butcher the name. If I do, I'll try to fix it. I think it was Good Energy. Casey and Callie Means. She talks just so much about our food and health and wellness, and not only our food, like being active and sleep and things that I hadn't really considered before. And it just made a lot of sense. So after that book, and I believe I also read Deep Nutrition by Catherine Shanahan, and she talks so much about seed oils. And I had heard that before, but I was like, what is so bad about seed oils? Like, I just didn't understand, and I still am maybe a little bit fuzzy about it. I guess it's though in the processing of how they're made that makes them so bad. They oxidize inside your body, cause inflammation. Inflammation's kind of the root of all diseases. I don't really understand it, but it's nothing that I want to consume after reading that book. So after reading just a handful of books, I decided that I needed to make some changes. And so a huge one as far as seed oils goes is, if you've ever read the back of a package, I mean, everything has seed oils. It's crazy. So bread, lots of them have, I think it's canola oil. I'm not really sure. Anyway, I was struggling to find bread that didn't have seed oil. So I was like, oh my gosh, well, I've got this grain mill and I've got these wheat berries, and now's the time. I got to figure this out. So I did. I started off with a couple YouTube channels of people that make bread, and they, were so, so helpful. Sue Becker's podcast was very helpful. I bought her cookbook, and I just figured it out and experimented and made a whole lot of bad bread. But you know what? Chickens don't care. So they got several and still do sometimes. But anyway, so I got past the bread hurdle, and then we really gosh, I don't know. I guess we eat tacos pretty often, so that was a huge thing too. I can't find tortillas with no seed oils. So I learned how to make tortillas, and gosh, mayonnaise, all mayonnaise has soybean oil in it, and I never really was a mayonnaise fan. I liked Miracle Whip, which I know hate me, but that was my choice. But I did it. I haven't had that in 2 years or so. I've just made my own mayonnaise, and none of this was like I just set out to do it and all in one day learned all these things. I added in one thing and then another thing, and one thing led to another, and here we are. So I think that's the only way to do it. If you have a goal of changing the way you eat, don't try to do it all at once, because I think that you'd get burnout and it would just be too much work. So start with something that you're very passionate about, and learn it, get good at it, and then introduce something else. So anyway, gosh, I've just rambled on, but let me look at my notes here. Okay, so food is a huge, probably the main reason why I started doing all these things, and I decided to revamp my YouTube channel to include more than food, because there is more than food that I'm trying to incorporate. So I read, I believe, I don't know, The Comfort Crisis, maybe? I'm not really sure. I read so many books, I can't keep them all straight. Comfort Crisis was great. I recommend that. Basically, the idea is doing hard things is good for you. So, everything from doing cold water plunges to just being bored. That's huge with cell phones and stuff these days. There's not a whole lot of people that experience boredom, mostly kids. I'm guilty of that too. But we need to, it gives your body time to think, to use your imagination, to just do all these things that you wouldn't if you're sitting there scrolling on your phone. So anyway, let's see, back to another book. Let me look at my notes. Let's see. I also read the Lethem Theory and Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits was very insightful as far as how to start doing something new, how to incorporate it into your daily life and make it stick. A lot of people set New Year's resolutions, and then they're like, like a month in or 2 months in, if you're lucky, then it just starts to dwindle and stuff. So you have to know your why about why you want to make these changes. So anyway, I incorporated walking every day. I want to get at least my 10,000 steps in every day. So of course I've got my watch and try to track that. After reading The Comfort Crisis, I learned about rucking, which a lot of people walk with a weighted vest, and that's great. I did, excuse me, I did a lot of research on it, and I decided that the rucking backpack was actually better for me, just because it kind of improves your posture as you're walking. It doesn't kind of, slump you down. The weight is extremely adjustable. You can do anything from just throwing a couple of bags of rice in it to they have huge weight plates that are secure in there so they don't jostle around. And I think they go up to 45 pounds. Some backpacks, you have multiple little pockets for weights, so you can adjust your weight all the way up to 75 pounds or something crazy. So I ordered one. I started out with a 20-pound weight plate. I haven't increased it or anything, but I'm trying to do about 2 miles every day with the weight, with the backpack. So that's it. It's going. It's definitely more difficult than walking with no weight. And as you can see from here, it's not exactly flat. So it's probably more like hiking, which is good. So I also started including cold plunges, which I don't have a cold plunge. I just do the cold showers. So that's supposed to help increase your brown fat and like there was all kinds of benefits about it, and don't leave it to me to repeat all that. But it's something I decided I wanted to try to incorporate. It's supposed to like lower inflammation and have faster recovery after workouts. And so I think there's lots of YouTube shorts about it and everything. But anyway, just type it in and you'll get so many videos. But what I do is I just, in my normal shower, do everything, wash your hair, body wash, all that good stuff. And then when it's time to rinse out my conditioner, and I usually brush my teeth during this just to give my mind something to focus on that's not cold water. Anyway, by the time I get done washing and everything, I step out of the water and turn it straight to cold and just step back in. And just, it does suck. It's not fun. But you get used to it and you actually kind of start looking forward to it. So what I'll do is when I step back in, I rinse all the conditioner out of my hair, I brush my teeth, and then by that time it's about 3 minutes in, which you definitely don't have to do 3 minutes. I just found that it works for me. So, and it makes you feel like energized and like just ready for the day and everything when you get out. So I am not a fan of cold. Even today, like it looks warm out here, it's not. It's freezing. So if I can do it, anybody can. And if you can make it 30 seconds, you can probably make it 3 minutes. Just if you're interested in that, just search it up. And it's I don't know. I like it, and I think it's got a lot of health benefits, and it's just something I want to stick to. So, gosh, I guess another reason for doing things kind of the older way or another way is your kids are always watching you. So, it's a good for them to know, even if they choose not to do things the way that I do. I don't think my kids are going to grow up and bake their own bread and make their own tortillas and all that good stuff, but they do know that it's possible. They do know that there's another way. And maybe down the road, if they decide, hey, my diet's not exactly where I want it to be, maybe this is why my mom always did that, and it will stick with them and they'll remember that. And I think that's a good thing. Even if they decide it's not for them, maybe they'll understand your choices, or, just, I don't know, but kids are watching, so I want to incorporate things that I think are good for our family, and they work for us currently. So let's see, back to the notes. Okay, so anytime that we know how to do anything for ourselves, that's always a good thing. So as far as gardening, processing, freeze drying, anything like that. My husband's a big hunter, so we don't, I don't think the grocery stores are going to close down or anything like that, but we would have a way to provide for ourselves and stuff if that ever happened. So that's always a good thing to know. So I guess I'm just going to end here and say that sometimes life is a little bit chaotic, and it's easy to lose focus of what's important to you, your health, your family, things like that. And if you have ever felt like that and you just want a little bit more peaceful, focused, intentional life, then, join me here and learn a couple things and, incorporate some old things and join me in living life the old way. I would love to have you.